Tech News Weekly is sponsored by Audible.com, the internet's leading provider of audiobooks, with more than 100,000 downloadable titles across all types of literature. And by Stitcher Radio. Listen on the go via the Stitcher mobile app. For more information, go to Stitcher.com/GFQ.
Starting Tech News Weekly in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tech News Weekly. I'm Andrew Zarian, and of course I'm joined by John, as I am each and every week. How you doing, John?
Hey Andrew, what's up?
Good, nothing much. We're getting ready for Christmas. The holiday season is here. I did a little Christmas shopping earlier. I ordered some stuff on Amazon.
Aren't you usually like a Grinch?
I am. No. On my birthday, I'm awful. During the holidays, I'm pretty pleasant. I'm actually tolerable during the holiday season. During my birthday, not tolerable at all. And nobody wants to be near me, and that's why nobody says happy birthday to me. But around this time, I'm all right because I'm mostly drunk. So,
oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness for me.
So long as it's not eggnog, right?
Ugh, I hate eggnog. It's awful. But I found something really interesting this year that Amazon is doing, and I'm not sure if they did it in previous seasons, but I noticed that when you order something on Amazon now, it gives you the option for, Amazon Prime, next day, whatever. And then it says, hey, are you not in a rush? We'll give you $1 back to get any kind of movie you want on Amazon. And I found that interesting. And I guess that's how they're separating the priority stuff that needs to be shipped, immediately from the, well, I ordered a pack of tape. Who knows if I need it?
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. And the other interesting thing that I noticed that Amazon is doing, I went to order double-sided tape for the lights behind me. I needed, and I was ordering a couple things, and I saw it, and I put it in my car.
Sure,
and
that's
said,
what you needed it for.
I did, yeah. And interestingly enough, when I put it in my shopping cart, he said, we cannot ship this item to you. You need to order up to $25. This is an add-on item. Have you ever seen Amazon do that? Would they put a limit on what you could order?
Especially if you're a Prime member, things should just ship whenever you want.
Yeah, no. It said we can't. We'll put this in the cart, but we can't process the order. You need up to $25 to process this because this is considered an add-on order.
That sounds something like the free Super Saver shipping that they were doing.
Yeah,
I don't know. That really makes sense.
Yeah,
but then again, it is the holiday season, so if anybody is ordering online, they should use our affiliate code that's on our website.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we do have an affiliate, the link on our website. But have you been doing your holiday shopping in the stores at all, or are you exclusively online? Because it seems like this year will probably be the first year I'm exclusively online with my orders.
I suck at Christmas shopping. It's just, tell me what you want. I'll get it for you, and it's wherever I can get it cheapest. If it's online, I'll get it online. If it's something that's in store, if it's something for my parents and it's like clothing, I'll usually go to the store and look for the clothing item.
This is actually the first year I have not gone to the store, and I probably won't take a trip to the mall this holiday season to do my Christmas shopping. And I'm probably, Jess is not here, I'm probably going to buy her a MacBook Air.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
honestly, a lot of times that I go to the store, I just go to the store because I'm bored and I need something to do.
You're just walking around?
Yeah. Why not? You go to stores, look at some stuff, people watch, kill some time.
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Especially with the mall around here, it's so interesting to see all different types of people and what they're up to.
Well, the Apple Store, I'm sure is going to be busy with a lot of stuff happening this holiday season. But
they're always busy.
Talking about Apple, I want to go into the story because I found this to be really interesting. It broke early in the week. Tim Cook confirmed one line of Macs will be exclusively manufactured in the U.S. in 23.
Yeah, this is a very interesting story because there's some different sides to it, and we're not exactly sure of all the specifics yet.
Yeah, there's actually a couple angles because at first, the initial story that I read was it's going to be assembled here.
Yeah.
And then I heard that they have been looking to produce the chipsets here as well. And now I'm hearing again that they're only going to assemble it here. So I'm not too sure what they're doing. Cook is committed to invest more than $100 million in partners to dedicate the move of production to the United States. I mean, I can't see anybody saying no to this. I can't see anybody being against this. But what does this mean for the pricing? Will this affect pricing at all? What does this mean for their other partners?
Everything's made in China now. So it's like, well, you got all these people in China that work for like pennies a day. And now you're going to have to pay people here in the United States, excuse me. And of course, we're not going to settle for anything less than minimum wage. So how's that going to affect the price? Because this is really interesting, because there's also a story about Foxconn saying that they want to also have some plant or production here in the United States, but we're not sure if this is exactly connected directly with Apple or not. If Foxconn is just wanting to do some of their own stuff here by themselves, or if this is in conjunction with the Mac line that Tim Cook says that he wants to have manufactured here in the United States.
Yeah, and the rumored line, and this story is funny because this is almost every line that they have. I can't think of any other computer line that they have. Either the iMacs, the Mac Minis, or the Mac laptops will make a wholesale move to the U.S. in 2013. So it's pretty much anything, except for the iPads and the iPhones.
Yeah, pretty much.
I welcome this. I
mean,
think it's a great
really
idea.
is anybody's guess.
You know,
because you know what, this is something that we've been talking about for a year or two now. It's especially now because we've had all this, let's say, controversy surrounding Foxconn in China. There's been a lot more demand now, I think, for Apple to do something here in the United States. Sure, they say that, you know, all the Apple products are designed here in the United States, but assembled in China, and people kind of get that confused. And so now it's almost like there's more pressure now for Apple to actually bring jobs back to the United States and do everything here instead of doing everything in China. I mean, I can understand why they do that, because it is just so much cheaper to do it in China, especially at the scale that they're doing. But then again, it does, like I said, seem to be more demand for Apple to do stuff here in the United States.
You know, I kind of envision this as how the Japanese car companies started producing cars in the United States. At first, it was maybe X amount of cars that started coming to the United States.
Turn off your phone.
I don't know why. Who's calling me at this time? At first, it was a couple of people, you know, a couple of cars that was made here, and then they eventually moved to almost all their U.S. line being manufactured either in Kentucky or somewhere in the Midwest. So I can't see Apple dedicating every single MacBook to be made in the U.S., but I could see a portion of them being produced here, and they slowly phase it in where it's going to be made here. I welcome that. I think that's a great idea. Creating jobs.
Not only that, it'll create jobs, which is something that we definitely need right now.
Yeah, interesting. But the Foxconn story was fascinating. Have they implied why they're looking to come to the U.S.?
Details have really been non-specific about what's really going on. They just basically said that they want to have some sort of base of operations here in the United States. We don't know for sure whether or not this is directly connected with wanting to produce and manufacture Apple products here in the United States or not. We're just not sure.
And Foxconn is responsible for, I mean, many components that are made in virtually every computer out there. They're not just dedicated to
but
Apple.
I mean, they are known for working with Apple and manufacturing and assembling all the basically Apple products that you buy.
I mean, let me ask you this, because this is a fascinating thing. If Apple were to make, let's say, the iPhone here, how much of a premium are you willing to pay because it's a U.S.-made product? Does that affect you? I know people want jobs to come here, but I don't think they want to pay the premium. It's the whole concept of, you know, going to the dollar store and buying the generic brand because it's $1 compared to, you know, buying the $2.99 brand that's a little better.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think a lot of it depends on your personal situation and how much money you can actually afford to spend. I mean, if you're having to, you know, count every single penny you have, I mean, there's not really any desire or any way for you to actually spend a premium to get stuff that's made here in the United States.
But I mean, we talk about this all the time, and we talk about, you know, well, manufacturing is out of this country, and we lost our manufacturing jobs, but I don't think the majority of this country is willing to pay the premium that it costs to manufacture things here.
Probably not.
I really don't see that happening. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, if they're going to put a $25 premium on there and they say, well, if you want to buy the American line, it's $25 more. I can see people saying, okay, you know what? I'll pay $25, but I don't think they're going to pay $50 to $100.
I don't think $25 would be unreasonable.
No, I don't think so at all. Since we're on the Apple topic, Apple now owns the trademark for the word Retina. And it's really all it is. It's a pixel dense display, right? I mean, that's all it is.
Yeah,
They've coined the phrase Retina, that it's a Retina display, but it really means nothing. It's not a term that's used throughout the industry. It just means high pixel density on the display. They've coined the phrase so nobody else could use it.
I can kind of understand having them have a trademark for this because it is something that they use. It's not something that is general, such as a mouse, you know?
Yeah. I want you to talk about the T-Mobile story because you've been dealing with T-Mobile for some time now, and you've been a T-Mobile user. So why don't you go into this? Because I found this interesting on why it's happening now. It kind of makes sense because T-Mobile was kind of...
I can tell you why it's happening now.
Well, because the whole deal with AT&T fell apart. But go into this story because it's fascinating that in 2013, they are the last U.S. provider to get the iPhone.
Yeah, but this is something that T-Mobile has made no bones about. This is something that they've won in for probably 2-3 years now, is that they're basically the last carrier in the United States that does not have the iPhone. And so there are almost questions of why it took so long. I think they did, of course. I mean, everybody can agree that they got set back when they lost the deal with AT&T because that put so much of what they were doing on hold. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy.
I mean, the deal
now finally getting it.
When was the deal initially leaked that the AT&T deal was happening? So I kind of want to put it was about last year, right?
No, it was about year and a half or so ago, I think, because there was about a year after the deal was announced between the announcement and it falling apart.
Yeah, so it kind of makes sense because it was around the same time that Sprint got the iPhone.
Yeah.
So if we look at the time frame, it was probably that Apple wanted to get on all the providers in the States, and T-Mobile and AT&T they thought they were going to have this merger happen, this acquisition happen, and it fell apart, and that's what left T-Mobile out of the race. But
see, Dutch Telecom is a company that has wanted nothing to do with the USA version of their brand. So it's almost like they're the redheaded stepchild.
Yeah, but they don't have a 4G network, do they?
They have HSPA Plus, and they are going. What they said is that they're gonna, I guess, refarm their 3G to LTE, and that's something that they're working on between now and themselves with Metro PCS. Now that they also have that deal, so in a way, this is all kind of coming together just fine for them. Albeit about a year or two late than it really should be.
But Metro PCS does not have their own 3G network either. They piggyback off of Sprint.
They do have their own LTE, though.
They do.
I'm pretty sure they do.
I thought they were piggybacking off of Sprint, but I could be wrong. John, let me ask you. You had an awful experience with T-Mobile over the last couple of weeks. You were transferring over from T-Mobile to Verizon, and it's been an awful experience. And I'm really surprised because T-Mobile has prided themselves on their customer service.
Oh, yeah. And even I called them up, and even the guy that I talked to, whose name is Steve, by the way. So if anybody from T-Mobile is listening to this, Steve, when I talked to him, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, he was just a real dick about it. So
about you leaving.
It's so weird because you really don't have any control over what happens. As soon as you port your number out of T-Mobile, it cancels your account. You can no longer log in. You can't see your bills. You can't do anything.
Yeah, I've been pretty good with almost every company that I dealt with. Verizon has been good with us. I had Nextel for years, and they were great. And when they merged with Sprint, I was still with Nextel, and I received the bill from them for $1,500.
Wow.
And they couldn't explain why. And they're like, well, you called this state, and you called that state, and you called this. I'm like, I never made those phone calls. It's all over the country. They credited me. They said they're going to credit me $700, but they can't do the rest. So I left. I fought it. I sent letters to corporate. It took like 8 months, and they finally reverse the charges and cut me a check, but I had to pay it up front because I don't want to ruin my credit. And right. I've been with Verizon ever since. But I hear these stories all the time, but I really don't hear from T-Mobile customers When you left T-Mobile, and this is something that people complain about T-Mobile, and it's that the service is not as, the network is not as expanded as AT&T or Verizon at this point.
Oh, heck no.
Did
No.
you experience that? Or it was just really good in your area, so it worked for you?
Well, I had an old BlackBerry, so I really didn't do much on it. But there are areas where, I mean, I would go and I would only get maybe GPRS. Or if I'm on a long road trip, there's areas where I only get GSM.
Yeah.
And it's not like I was in, unpopulated areas.
Yeah.
I was in an area that only has GPRS. They don't even have Edge, which is really bizarre. But most of the times I've ever called T-Mobile for customer service, they've always been pretty good until now, which I don't understand. If you're canceling T-Mobile, be very cautious about it and make sure that you get all your ducks in a row first, print out all your bills, because it's crazy canceling T-Mobile. It's an absolute horrible experience.
How much will this help T-Mobile now that they're getting the iPhone? Do you think this is going to be a big boost to T-Mobile, because they are the most inexpensive provider in the country? I mean, it's great for the consumer because now we have an option. We're not just stuck with AT&T.
Well, this is going to be very interesting because they also announced that they are changing the way that they have all their plans next year for 2013. They are no longer going to subsidize any devices. So you're going to have to pay full retail price for any phone that you want on T-Mobile. You can bring an unlocked device to T-Mobile if it's GSM or whatever, and you can use it on there, but you have to pay full retail price for any device that you buy from them. So if you're going to buy the iPhone, this is something that's we're just not sure of yet, because they're saying that when they launch the iPhone next year and T-Mobile gets it, they're going to have a dramatically different pricing structure for the iPhone than what we've seen in the past. I don't know if that's directly because of them going to these unsubsidized devices now or not. I mean, the benefit of doing full retail pricing for handsets is that they can now charge you less for your service. So they're going to switch everybody over to value plans, which is their cheaper plans that they have compared to what they have now.
The T-Mobile CEO was quoted to saying they're promising a dramatically different experience with the iPhone than you've been receiving with any other company. But I don't know what that means. That's a very vague statement. And how different could their experience with the iPhone be? It's pretty much the same all across the board. I'm curious on what they mean, unless they're talking about pricing. Your pricing.
Well, the big question is, the bottom line is this going to stop the bleeding for T-Mobile? Is this, now that they get the iPhone, will this stop them losing customers left and right?
Yeah, I think for the most part, people go with T-Mobile not because of their great network, but because they're inexpensive. And if they stick to those pricing structures that they already have in place for, Android smartphones that they have on the service right now, I think they're going to be pretty successful with this. If they do an iPhone plan that's about the same price as what we're getting with AT&T and Verizon and Sprint, I can't see what's going to go on there. I mean, it doesn't matter if they have the iPhone or not. People are going to go to the better experience. So
well,
they
this
have
is
to cut
interesting.
something.
Mick Phillips in the chat room brings up an interesting point. He says that he's not willing to pay anything over $200 for a phone. But on the flip side of that, if you're paying full retail price, you're not going to be locked into any contract. So you can switch phones anytime you want. You can change your plan anytime you want without having to worry about contract extensions or early termination.
But is that a concern?
Is that something that...
Let me ask you,
yeah,
is
that's
that
what
a
I'm wondering.
concern
Is that
for
something
people?
that you would want to do? Would you be okay paying full retail price for a phone for the benefit of not having a contract whatsoever that you have to worry about?
I mean, the contract to me, it does not matter. If I'm going to be if I have the phone and I'm happy with it for 2 years, that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to have for 2 years. I don't know I don't get the big fuss with jumping ship and going to different providers. I personally, I don't look to leave my provider if I'm using Verizon. I've done my homework and I know that they work.
Yeah.
So for me, that's not a concern. I know a lot of people that jump from provider to provider, and that's what they like. They pay the $600-700 for the phone, and they'll jump ship. And I personally don't do that.
I think this is going to be a big shock when people realize what smartphones these days cost, because you're talking about, even for the iPhone, for the base model that you normally pay $200 for a 2-year contract, is now going to be $650 up front.
Yeah, and that pricing is bizarre. I mean, the non-subsidized cost of these phones, it's totally inflated the price. That's not a true depiction of what the product is worth. If you look at the iPod Touch and you look at the iPhone, unsubsidized iPhone, you're talking about a $199 device, which is on par with a $299, let's say, which is on par with the subsidized cost of the iPhone. But the iPhone is probably $700 if you're getting it unsubsidized. So really, they just do that to lock you into a contract. It's almost like they punish you for not getting a contract. Maybe that's what T-Mobile's looking to do. Maybe they're looking to lock you in for a smaller contract or maybe a 1-year deal. Who knows?
They're not doing any contracts whatsoever.
None at all.
They said that we're everything's going to be full-blown retail if you want a handset from us, and we're not going to have any contracts whatsoever, and it's going to be all value plans.
So how are they going to...
Their plans will actually be cheaper.
Yeah, but how are they going to do this? Because people aren't going to go and buy a $700 phone from T-Mobile.
That's the question.
They're probably gonna eat the cost, and it'll be $299 or $199.
They can't afford to. I don't think they can afford to do that.
I don't know. I'm curious. It's a fascinating story, and I'm really interested.
Yeah,
to see.
But I mean, Philip says that Apple fans will buy anything, but at the same time, I think there's also other considerations there, in the fact that, even if they launch something in November of next year on T-Mobile as an iPhone, you're still not going to have the high quality LTE network like you would have with Verizon or AT&T. AT&T and Verizon are just so far ahead in terms of their market build out for LTE that T-Mobile is definitely playing catch up. And even if it's going to take them 2 years between their deal with Metro PCS to refarm the spectrum that Metro PCS uses now for LTE.
Well, and I'm looking at some of the quotes here. Currently, there's 33 million customers for T-Mobile, and they're expected to sell between 4 and 5 million within the first 12 months of its launch. This is according to analysts, in comparison to Sprint selling 6.3 million within the first 12 months. The analysts also added that T-Mobile could sell 2 million additional iPads because they're also getting the iPad. Now, this is a fascinating thing, and I think this answers our question. The CEO of T-Mobile hinted that T-Mobile would be able to sell the iPhone at an affordable price without a contract, saying that customers would pay $99 for the most iconic device in the world. Instead, customers would pay an additional $15 to $20 a month for 20 months, easing a one-time cost. So probably what they're going to do is they're going to put the rate up a little bit more, but they're going to charge you less for the device, and there's no contract.
Yeah.
Interesting. I think it's interesting.
It'll be interesting to see what they do, but I mean, this is something that they've definitely needed for a long time.
And customers could also trade in the device at any time and get a fair trade-in value. I kind of like that, If you're someone that wants an iPhone
then again,
every
it's
year,
be T-Mobile, and they don't have the network.
They don't have the network.
That's what it comes down to, is that if you go with T-Mobile, you have to suffer those consequences that they just do not have as big of a network or as fast of a network as AT&T or Verizon.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what it comes down
look
to
at
if you're
this.
choosing T-Mobile.
But if you're one of these people that needs the iPhone every time it comes out, and you want a brand new iPhone every time it comes out every year rather than waiting 2 years, you know what? This is a plan for you. You pay $10 more a month, and you're not stuck to a contract. You don't have to pay the $600 up front every time you want to get a new iPhone.
I don't think that necessarily makes that big of a difference, because people do that anyway now on AT&T and Verizon, and they just sell their old phone unlocked at a higher cost than what they actually bought it for. So let's say they bought the iPhone 4S and they want to get the iPhone 5. Well, they can unlock their iPhone 4S and sell that for probably another $100 more than what it's actually worth.
Yeah. Interesting. It's fascinating. I'm actually happy that they're getting it, and it's great for competition to continue here, because this was a company that was done. People were saying, well, T-Mobile's finished. We're down to 3, and Sprint is next, so we're going to be down to 2. So I'm actually surprised to hear that. Another thing that I was really surprised to hear is that Blockbuster's in the news, and Blockbuster still has stores around the country. I thought they were finished, and they're looking to sell cell phones in some of their retail stores, which is bizarre to me. Dish Network, which is the company that owns Blockbuster now, recently launched Blockbuster Mobile. They've teamed up with Sprint, Verizon.
Is that like Boost Mobile?
No. Just Blockbuster Mobile. You could get a Sprint phone, a Verizon phone, and it's almost like they just sell every kind of cell phone you want through their store, and you get it. It's bizarre. I mean, they're trying to survive, and I can see what they're doing, but, I mean, going to Blockbuster to buy a cell phone is a little bizarre to me.
Yeah, when I first read this story, I was like, Blockbuster still has stores?
I think that was my reaction, too. That was exactly my reaction.
I did not realize that Blockbuster still has stores. I thought they were dead and gone.
Talking about a company that had it and lost it.
Oh,
I mean,
totally.
they are the perfect example, and this just shows you when you don't adapt with the times, you fall apart, and your business. I mean, Blockbuster went out of I mean, it took them 5 years; they were done. Once Netflix came out, and Netflix has been around for a while. I mean, I remember seeing the Netflix commercials for a long, long time. Once Netflix gained popularity, Blockbuster could not continue; they were done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like RIM, right? It's the whole story with RIM. BlackBerry today announced that they're going to be launching their QWERTY keyboard for BlackBerry 10. And guess when it's launching? Before June. This is the phone that was supposed to come out a year ago. It was supposed to come out last January, and we did not see it happen. And, you know, they didn't keep up with the times.
I think there's a bigger possibility of BlackBerry still remaining the number three manufacturer of handsets out there.
Because right now, I believe January 30th, they're having the unveiling for BlackBerry 10.
They're having an unveiling, and they're saying that shortly after that is when they'll actually launch BlackBerry 10.
Probably the first week in March. So February, you'll do pre-orders all throughout February. They'll probably do a pre-order the following week, which I think is a big mistake. These companies have to do the pre-orders the day of. And they'll probably ship the first week in March, and the reviews will come in, and everybody will say, this is a great phone, but the ecosystem is awful. There's no apps.
Yeah.
And that'll be the nail in the coffin for them.
I don't know that it'll be that bad, because I think there are a number of things in BlackBerry 10 that is just plain cool. I mean, if you looked at the time shift function of that camera, why don't they have that built into iPhone?
Which function?
It's freaking awesome. The time shift function, where you take a picture, it actually takes several pictures, like 2 before and 2 after the one you actually take.
Yeah.
So that if somebody blinks, you can actually go back, click on their face, and change it to the one where their eyes are actually open, and it'll just change that little section of their face.
Yeah, that's a cool feature. I don't think that's going to be
built
awful,
in,
because I could tell you firsthand, a lot of corporate users, a lot of enterprise users, are not happy with the email client in the iPhone. The email client is awful, especially for enterprise email.
Yeah.
Android is a little better, but they're not great. So BlackBerry still does a pretty good job with email, and it's still important to people.
Yeah.
That might be, I mean, that
and
might
I'll
be
tell you
enough
what,
to save them.
BlackBerry Flow and BlackBerry Peak, those are great systems as well. Just the way that it functions, I think is really cool.
Yeah, interesting.
I mean, they do not have a bad operating system on their hands. It's a matter of them overcoming the fact that they've been absolute crap and nobody wants them for the past 2-3 years. And the fact that there's not going to be any apps when it launches.
Do you think the whole crash that they had a year ago, a little while ago, that affected them in any way, the outage? I know the media made it into a big deal, and the news stories were a big deal, but do you think that actually affected the BlackBerry user to say, I'm not using BlackBerry anymore, I'm leaving?
I think there's a number of outages that led up to people not wanting to use BlackBerry anymore, because BlackBerry had a reputation of having like basically 100% uptime. It never went down. And in the last couple of years, they've had numerous outages, some lasting several hours to a day, and that's just unacceptable.
Yeah.
When you have a reputation that high.
I don't know. It's fascinating. I mean, a lot of people are going to hate me to say that when I say this, but I'm more interested in what BlackBerry's going to do and the entire, the thing about the BlackBerry phone than I am with Windows Phone, because I kind of know what Windows Phone is and I kind of know what to expect, but it's almost like, wow, this is pretty cool. What are they going to do with BlackBerry? Because Microsoft could survive. BlackBerry, this is it. This is another trio story. This is another.
Yeah, but then again,
story.
I mean, in a way, I think if BlackBerry 10 had launched a year ago or 2 years ago, I don't know that it would have the same promise of actually making it as it would if it launched this year. Because the way I feel is that iPhone, Android, and Windows Phone have kind of gotten to the point where they're like a little stale.
Yeah, you know what? That's an interesting observation.
I mean, Windows Phone is new, but people just aren't really biting into it. iPhone and Android have been around for 5 years now. So it's almost in a way where people are looking for another player in the smartphone world.
No, that's an interesting observation. And you have to also remember if BlackBerry had released BlackBerry 10 2 years ago, like we're wishing for, Android was able to keep up, and Windows Phone, Windows changed their entire platform. They've been able to kind of survive. But you look at all the other phones that came into play that failed. You look at Palm, and the reason why they failed is not because they had an awful product. It's because it wasn't as good as the iPhone. And at that time, every blog article was, "Is this an iPhone killer?" Almost every phone that came out was dubbed, "Is this an iPhone killer?" And you know what? None of them were iPhone killers. So if BlackBerry had released this phone a good 2 years ago, it probably would not have matched up to the iPhone, and it would have gotten awful reviews. People would have said, "This is not an iPhone killer. Don't save your money. Go buy an iPhone. Don't buy this." And that would have been it for them. So, who knows? Maybe they're right. Maybe they're right in waiting. They waited till the market
do not
evened out.
understand why anybody would, at this point, go and buy a BlackBerry. I really don't. I don't understand why they're even selling BlackBerries at this point.
I don't think people know. They don't know to wait.
Let me see if I can bring up a picture here on my phone, because I have something really interesting. I took a picture. Here in I think where is it? Like Farmington Hills, there used to be a BlackBerry store. It was an actual BlackBerry store. It was basically one of two in the world. But I went by it yesterday, and I don't know if you can tell on here, it's no longer BlackBerry.
What does it say?
It's a wireless accessories store.
Yeah.
This is what it used to be. It used to say BlackBerry and have BlackBerry the BB on there all over it, but now it just says, let me see if I can read what it is. Accessories World Phone Fix, and a really crappy banner.
It's awful.
And it used to be a BlackBerry store.
Yeah, I mean, listen, not everybody can follow the Apple model, and that's the thing. That's the issue. You can't follow that model. It's a cult of personality type thing. It's the budget, the money. Apple hired, marketing people and retail people to create the Apple experience in the store. They're not just another Comp USA. And you know what? That's why Apple did
run by Wireless China, and it was an awful experience. It was so stupid because for it being branded a BlackBerry phone, you would expect it would always have the latest and greatest. It didn't. It never did. It would be like 60 days after BlackBerry launched before this particular store would actually get it in stock, in store.
Interesting.
I'm like, what's the point of having a BlackBerry store, calling it a BlackBerry store, run by a third-party company, and not getting the actual latest when it launches? You could go to Verizon or AT&T and always get the latest BlackBerry phone, but not from the actual BlackBerry store. That never made any sense to me.
Talk about confusion. I want to segue into this story here, and it's the Microsoft tablet confusion that has hit the market, because what tablet do you buy? And I spoke to Paul about this on Tuesday on What the Tech. We had a whole discussion about what is Microsoft doing? What are the OEMs doing? How is this happening? Mary Jo Foley has an interesting article on CNET where she says Redmond is set to begin selling their Surface RT devices through non-Microsoft retails in 2 phases. So we're going to be able to get these at Staples and
this is actually a source talking to Paul Thurrott about this. And if you actually read this article, it's kind of a letdown, or at least it was a letdown to me, because you start reading it and then it talks about how they're doing this only in locations where there aren't Microsoft brick and mortar stores, aka anywhere but the United States.
Oh, really? I thought Staples and all these other companies are going to get it.
No, the first phase of their rollout for retail locations is that it's going to be locations outside of the United States, which to me is a big letdown.
It's interesting because the hardware-wise, I think it's a cool-looking device, and I think it's designed well, but it's definitely not the best Windows 8 tablet on the market. I wouldn't say it's the best.
Do you think there's a best Windows 8 tablet out?
I think it depends on what you want.
Recommend a BlackBerry? Could you recommend a Windows 8 tablet?
Could I recommend a Windows 8 tablet? Not yet. We haven't seen the new Intel chipsets come out in masses, and in a large. They did a weird thing, and I think what they should have done was the OEM should have been on the same page as them, and they should not have delayed the launch of these devices because Windows 8 came out, some of these tablets came out, and companies like Asus and Toshiba, they were like, oh, no, we're going to wait till December to release the devices. Oh, no, we're going to wait till November to release them. So it was a little weird how they did the launch for these devices. I think there's a lot of confusion there with Windows RT.
I think there's a lot of confusion with Windows 8, period.
Yeah.
This has not been a solid launch for an operating system from Microsoft, in my opinion.
I think they kind of knew that the confusion was going to be there. They expected the confusion to be there. I don't think they expected the OEMs to behave in the way. Well, no, that's why they came up with their own device, because they knew the OEMs would drop the ball on this. And that's the biggest problem with Microsoft, that they have to.
But I think Microsoft has dropped the ball on this as well. I don't think they've effectively communicated Windows 8 at all. Just the devices that are out there now, I think they're all confusing, every single one of them, quite frankly. It's like creating a bunch of experimental devices, launching them out to the public, and seeing what sticks to the wall. That's basically what I feel like they're doing. Is they're making all these different devices because nobody really knows what to do with Windows 8 yet, and they want to see what the actual public wants. So they're just going to create all these different things, throw them to the wolves, and see what they actually take.
Well, yeah, exactly, and that's what the OEMs are doing. They don't know.
Basically, we're test people. We're guinea pigs for all these new devices.
Well, look at it. I mean, what are our options? The traditional tablet, the tablet with a keyboard.
Can I tell you, I have one quick rant here. And this is something that's always bugged me. Samsung has this thing called the Ativ Smart PC.
Yeah.
You've seen this, right?
Yeah.
Why in the world are they calling this a PC? It's a tablet. It does not have a keyboard attached to it.
Let me see here. Samsung Ativ.
They call it a smart PC. It has an Intel chip in it, and I guess that's why they're calling it a PC. But to me, having something that looks like the Kindle Fire here, let me grab mine real quick.
Well,
this is basically all it is. This is a tablet. This is not a PC. It doesn't matter what's inside of it. If it looks like this, it's portable, it has a touchscreen, and nothing else, it's a tablet. It is not a PC.
Well, this is what they have. The Ativ line is the Ativ S, which is their smartphone. The Ativ Tab, which is the Windows RT version of the Ativ Smart PC. The Ativ Smart PC, they call it that is because it's dockable. It has a keyboard. That's why it's called the Smart PC. So you take it and you dock it on.
It doesn't have a keyboard attached to it.
No, it's a dockable keyboard.
Whoopie-doo. That is not a PC to me.
Well,
a PC has a keyboard attached to it.
And they have the Ativ Smart PC Pro. But
of course, all that's confusing too, isn't it?
Yeah, and well, let me ask you
devices
this.
You just read all confusing.
Let me ask
what the
you
heck
this.
is the difference between them?
Let me ask you this, John. What are you more inclined to get? A tablet that you could attach a keyboard and it could become, just like a smart cover keyboard, or are you more inclined to purchase a actual laptop with a dockable screen?
Laptop.
You want the dockable screen?
Yeah.
So I honestly think that the tablet market is going to be that, and we're going to also have lower end, just tablet
because
screens.
I'm going to want something that actually has power to it.
Yeah, but I mean, how much power do these things have? That's the question.
If I want a tablet, I'm going to go with something like the iPad.
I mean, it's a Core i5.
The Nexus 10.
I mean, you're getting a Core i5 with this thing. And with the Ativ Smart PC, you're getting an Atom.
Yeah.
It is interesting, and I think they're in this weird, awkward position right now where they don't know what the market is going to want, and they're just trying everything. That's what the OEMs are doing.
Exactly what I'm saying is that they don't know what the market wants. They don't know what the product can do. They don't know what the product is. They don't know how people want to use this product. Microsoft has created this product that they really haven't effectively communicated what it does and how it's supposed to be used. And the people that have tried it for the purpose that they're using it on older technology that it's not really designed for. I mean, it's a mobile operating system that they're trying to put on desktops and laptops that already exist and aren't made specifically for this.
The other issue...
Then you also have third parties that are trying to make these new devices that are designed for Windows 8, but nobody really knows what they want to do with these devices and how they want to make them.
Well, the other issue that they have is that an 11-inch screen is too small to be your everyday laptop, but a 13-inch display is too big to be a tablet.
Yeah.
So they have to kind of have both these products in the market at the same time, depending on what you need it to do. Like you look at,
I don't have a problem with that.
You look at the Lenovo Yoga, which it flips and it's this awkward thing where the keyboard is on the bottom, but it's a laptop that could become a tablet if you need it.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on what you
need.
See,
I don't necessarily have a problem with that.
I don't think there's going to be one product on the market that everybody's going to get. I mean, and that's what we've learned with Windows and with the PC market is that there's something for everybody. Why don't you go into a story and then we'll do our picks of the week.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, there's a couple here that we could talk about. I don't know if you... One quick thing that I do want to talk about and get your opinion on is this whole Ashton Kutcher, Steve Jobs thing. Ashton Kutcher is doing the biography of Steve Jobs. He's playing Steve Jobs, of course. And I guess they finished filming. And they actually have a promo shot of Ashton Kutcher as Steve Jobs.
Yeah, he really does look like him.
I sent you a picture with the notes. I don't know if you can bring that up.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it up right now.
Because they actually have a shot of him, comparing him to an exact shot that they basically modeled this after of Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
And it's kind of freaky how close they look like each other.
Yeah. It's interesting how they... Now, when is the movie coming out? Do you know?
I believe, if I remember correctly, my browser just crashed, so I'm bringing up the notes again. I believe they said in January at Sundance.
Okay, it's going to make its unveiling at Sundance, and it'll probably come to the States a month or so after.
It appears Ashton Kutcher's Jobs biography is wrapped up filming. It'll be hitting the big screen for the first time at Sundance Film Festival this January.
Yeah, I'm interested to see it, what they do. I'm interested to see.
People will go see it. I mean, it's Apple and Steve Jobs, so.
Yeah, and everybody loves Steve. What are you ready to do picks of the week?
Sure.
Okay. You're going to go first this week, John.
All right, so my pick of the week is an iPhone app. Now that I have an iPhone, I'm sure you can expect I'm going to have a lot of app picks now for the iPhone and iOS. Now that I have a cool phone to actually do stuff with. It's called the Xfinity TV app by Comcast. If you have Comcast, this is an awesome app. It has an iPad, iPhone, iPod, and even an Android application. And this is actually kind of cool, and I really do like this. I'm sure you can use your remote and hit the guide button to bring up the TV listings and everything, but you can't necessarily customize it, and then sometimes you want to flip through really quickly and see what's going on. Well, the Xfinity TV app does that and a whole lot more. It actually has customized listings, which is really, really cool. So you can actually select which channels you want to mark as favorite and actually look at the TV listings based on your favorites, which is really cool. You can also see on-demand content. So if there's a show that you want to watch on demand, you can do that. Say there's an HBO show that you want to watch on your phone and it's on demand, you can do that. You can also change channels, which is really cool. So as you're looking through your TV listings and you find something that you want to watch, all you have to do is hit the channel and it'll actually change it on your TV for you. It'll send a signal from your phone over the internet to your cable box and change the channel for you.
But you can't watch, right?
Live TV, you mean?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it has any live TV.
Okay.
But it is cool that you can actually change channels. So if you're looking at TV listings, and you know what? I use this a lot more than I actually thought I would. It's really cool. You can set it up for multiple TVs. So if you have more than one TV in your house, you can actually set it up to control both TVs, which is really cool. I'm going to load this up here real quick just so I can look at some of it. You can actually search for shows, which is really cool. So if there's a show that you're looking for, you're interested in, you can actually type in what show it is that you want, and it'll tell you when's the next time it's going to be on TV, or if it's on demand, and you can watch it on demand. It's really cool. It's a free app. You can get it for iPhone, iPod, iPad, and Android.
Very cool. I like your pick a lot, but I think I have you beat here with my pick of the week. I think I have you beat by miles. My pick this week is the Verizon Fios app for the iPad. And I recently discovered this about 2 weeks ago, and I was going to do it as my pick of the week, and I forgot. And I had this app a while ago, and I really didn't care about it because it's the same exact features that John was talking about with the Xfinity app. And I rarely watch TV, so I didn't have a need, but I know people that love it. Well, Verizon added live TV to their iPad app. If you have Verizon Fios and you're on the same network as your Verizon TV, so you need Verizon TV and the internet to use this, you could get Verizon Fios TV on your iPad. It's limited channels right now. It's not every channel. I believe they have the big ones, like they have HLN, they have History, USA, a bunch of other ones, Cartoon Network. But the thing about this app is that you could actually watch it, and I've been doing that almost every night, just as watching something on the TV, and let's say, there's Pawn Stars on History, and I just go to the History channel, I plug in my headphones, and I watch it on my iPad.
Nice.
Isn't that cool? I'm surprised they're adding... I don't know why this is happening. I'm trying to scroll, and it's crashing on me. You could change the channels.
Great pick.
Yeah, you could change the channels. You could change the channels, as John said, with the Xfinity app. You could set your DVR to record. You could access on-demand programming also. But the cool thing is the live TV. And I absolutely love it. I think it's a great app. So we have something for everybody. If you have Verizon Fios, here's an app for you. And if you have Xfinity, here's an app for you. And that's my pick of the week, the Verizon Fios app for the iPad. I think I had you beat there, John. I think I had you beat.
Argue that.
No.
It's so surprising how much I actually use this app. I didn't think I would actually use it all that much, but I really do. I really like being able to see what's on TV easily, and then clicking through and doing whatever channel I'm on. Because it's kind of confusing in my room because I have an older TV and I don't have HD for it, so I can't get the HD channels on it. So it's confusing because I have to memorize the channels that are not HD and the channels that are HD.
By the way, I do think this, I believe this is on the iPhone also, the app, but I don't know if it has the TV feature for the iPhone. I'm not positive yet. So, I mean, easy to find. Just look it up and you find it. That was my pick. I delivered something decent this week. John, thank you
on you during the demo.
Yeah. That crashed on me. Where can people find you?
You can check out my music blog, Amadeus, AMADAIS.com. I like to go on YouTube, find artists that have great cover songs. There's so many of them out there. And I handpick them and I put them on my website for everybody to see because they're just... Music is such an awesome thing, and I love discovering music.
And, of course, people can follow you on Twitter at Suncast.
Yep.
You could also follow me on Twitter. I'm Andrew Zarian on Twitter. You could, of course, go to our website, gfknetwork.com. If you miss any portion of the show, you could check it out there. We're also we're on iTunes. We're on the Windows Marketplace. We're pretty much everywhere podcasts are available. So I encourage you to subscribe to us on whatever service you're using. And that's it, guys. That's it for this week. John, thanks again for joining us, and I thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week on Tech News Weekly. Good night.